Mm-hmm.
So who are you? How did you get started? Why is your story important? And then what are you doing today? That's
Right.
kind of...
I would say
Yeah.
my passion started when I was a young kid. I mean, my dad was part of the Nifty's 50s Club.
What is that?
He used to have a 58 Corvette.
Split window?
No, that would be, I believe, 66, 65.
Okay, so...
I might be wrong. I'm not a very big Corvette fan by any
Okay.
means, so I don't really pay attention to them much.
I'm not hurt.
Too much fiberglass for me. You know, that's what they are, is a fiberglass shell, and I'm just like, you know, yeah, they look beautiful, but the metal work's not there.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Not at all.
I'm a metal guy. I like metal shells.
Yeah. It's a pretty car. If a fat lady sits on it, now you got it done.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a
And
hole.
then you gotta fix it.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Then you get spider cracks everywhere in the fiberglass.
Yeah, and shower 3 times just to get it out of you.
Yep. So, I mean, it really started with my dad. He was always in the cars. And, I mean, he worked a couple jobs when I was really young. And, you know, the time that I got to spend with my dad when he was home, we went to car shows all the time. Like the World of Wheels, you know, it used to be
the
at
big ones.
Yeah, it used to be at the Civic Center in Omaha, where they would hold Monster Rallycross and stuff like that inside this little tiny arena. Now you got the Quest Center, which is a lot bigger.
Bigger, yeah.
But I mean, we would do all the little small car shows, to go to swap meets all the time. You know, just that father-son moment. You know, him pointing out a car to me, explain the year, make, model. You know, my buddy had this in high school. This is what I, you know, used to drive.
Yeah.
And he had all kinds of cars. When he was in high school, he had a 1970 GTX with a 440 Super Commando. And it was plum crazy purple, white top, white interior. And a couple years ago, I actually did a search for it on Lost Muscle Cars on Facebook. And someone reached out to me. They ended up having some of the parts from the car. When he was in high school, he ended up sanding the car down and painting it Hames beer can blue, which is very interesting to do. He liked blue, so he decided to paint it blue, and that was one of the descriptions I actually had in the search for the car. And this gentleman emailed me, and he sent me the photos, and of course he had a door, and it was blue on the outside and still purple on the jambs, with the white stripe on the side of the door for the GTX. And he had a fender from it and a couple other parts for it, and he goes, the car was rear-ended and sent to the junkyard, and this is what he saved from the car. And I was like, oh, at least I found, I hope to be my dad's car,
Yeah.
but who paints a plum crazy purple GTX blue? So, but yeah, that was pretty cool for him and cool for me, and I was able to share that with my dad. And you know, and through high school, my first car was a '69 Chevelle 396 car. I picked it up from a neighbor. We moved into this new neighborhood north of Omaha, and I could see taillights across the field.
So how old were you? What year was this? In the 70s?
I would say 2020 or 2003.
Okay.
So fairly, you know.
You were in high school in 2003.
Yeah, I graduated in '06. I'm only 37.
Got it.
So
I'm used to
not
these
that
guys.
old.
Yeah,
I'm not that old. So
I didn't think so. I really didn't.
yeah, so I got to experience, you know, the cheap car era of buying classic cars.
Oh,
I
my
bought the car for
goodness.
$600. So I knocked on the guy's door, and he kind of him-hawed around about it, and I offered him $600 for the car, and he's like, "Oh, let me think about it." And next thing I know, he called my dad up and he goes, "I'll sell that car to your son." And lo and behold, I ended up with a '69 Chevelle
In 06.
in
Or
2004.
4.
Yeah, 03, 04. It was 03 of that fall. So 04, I think I ended up bringing it home.
Drive it around?
No,
enjoy it?
no, it was rear-ended. I can share some photos with you on that.
Yeah.
So
Straight to body work? Like
pretty
first
much,
car?
yeah.
Wow.
I actually ended up cutting the quarter panel off and fixing it, you know, and not knowing what I was getting into. I had no bodywork experience, no welding experience. You know, my dad went out and he bought me a new welder. It was a flux core. It wasn't gas shielded or solid wire on it. So everything looked like goose poop.
Yep.
It's a live and learn situation there.
You jumped in head first, though.
I did. I jumped in head first. I had a couple buddies come over and help me after school, and we started tearing, disassembling the car. Pull the front end off of it, pull the interior out of it, and I started cutting panels off. I had a guy come over that I assumed knew what he was doing to, tell me what I can and can't do, or what I should and shouldn't do. And he wasn't any better than I was. I think he was only 2 years older in high school with me. So, but I ended up putting on quarter panels, repairing the trunk floor, putting used front fenders on it, and then I ended up driving it to school one day with a go-kart helmet on.
Okay.
So,
was it fast? Was this like a car that needed that?
Well, I don't know if it was necessarily fast. I mean, at the time it had a 10 bolt in it, and which was not original to the car. And my grandfather and my dad went out and pulled a 454 out of a grain truck.
Okay.
And they got it home, and I ended up disassembling it one weekend while my parents were out of town. And I read a Haynes assembly manual, tore the engine apart, regasketed it, put it all back together, and had it started that Sunday. So while my parents are gone, I disassembled a 454 engine, reassembled it, and then got it running in my Chevelle. And then that following week, I took it to auto body in high school as one of my elective classes.
Nice,
so I could sand it down and get the primer and body done on it.
Right. And
from there, I brought that car back home, graduated in 06, and then it kind of just stayed parked. I never really drove it since then.
You still have it?
I do. Actually, I met my wife 15 years ago. We started dating, and then I got back into the car world again. I kind of left the car world for a while. I went to college, got all my electives out of the way at Metro, and then I went to Southeast Community College for automotive technology. And I didn't graduate. I kind of dropped out. I lost my grandfather on my mom's side. Wasn't super close with him, but it was still affected me a little bit. So I kind of just stopped everything I was doing. I kind of like reflected a little bit, and was like, maybe I'll go do something else. So I actually started working in construction.
Wow.
So I started building decks. Kind of got out of the entire car world after that. And
this is the grandpa that got you into the car?
No. This is my mom's side. My dad's side is my grandpa Farris.
Farris, okay.
Yeah, and he's one of the ones that kind of stayed around. I have photos with him actually helped me build my car. It was really, really fun to do that with him. He'd come out, he'd tinker with stuff, try to put hood springs on my hood hinges, and he'd find me asleep underneath the car sometimes. I'd stay out there late nights and fall asleep, and the shop dog would sleep next to me and he'd come out and check on me. I'd be asleep underneath that.
You sleep well under a car.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you do.
It's comforting, especially when you know the jack stands aren't going to fall on you. That's why you buy quality jack stands.
Yeah.
But no, I built decks for years. I started off with Nebraska Deck and Patio doing that. And then after that, I actually created my own decking company. And then I kind of popped the question off, asked my wife to marry me, my girlfriend at the time, not my wife. We've been married come September 9 years. So, thank you. And she's kind of pushed me to get back into the car thing. She's one of my big supporters on it. She wants me to just be happy, which is hard to find in a spouse. She wants everyone around her to be happy. She's that type of person. She cares. She wants everyone to be happy. She's always willing to help out when you ask her. Always offers it. And I started working on my car and showing progress photos again. I got it ready for paint and everything. Painted it one night with about $100 in paint, and got it ready for my wedding. We got married with the car
Wow.
in the wedding that September of
The Chevelle?
yeah, in
Wow.
2016. So, and then after the wedding, drove it to the hotel, locked the keys in it. That was fun.
That's appropriate, all right.
Yeah. So on our wedding night, we locked the Chevelle up with the keys in it. And then after that, I parked the car. I haven't driven it since
then?
2016. Yeah.
Holy cow.
I know, it's been a long time. I don't know why. I just kind of started working on other people's cars, and my own cars got shoved to the side.
Yeah, that happens.
So, right now, this past year, I took most of the parts off the car, like the doors, the front end, hood, fenders, radiator support. I put it all on a client's car that was from Chicago, a Chicago firefighter. And I built his 69 Chevelle with
yours.
all my parts. And then they were all new. So,
wow.
and I made a client happy that way. I made money, made a client happy. And that's what mattered to me. So I'll eventually get to it. Yeah,
yep.
I'll eventually get to it. So
there's that convenience, and sometimes that reminds you that, I don't know, you give a part of it up, and you go, wait a minute, I love that car. I want to finish it.
Yep. I don't want to sell it.
Yeah.
You know, and
Do you want to pass it down?
I wouldn't mind passing it down. I have two daughters, Brooklyn and Mackenzie.
Okay.
One just turned 11. The other one turned 9 in May. The youngest one wants a Nova, so I have a Gold Rally Nova for her, 1972, numbers matching car. She's going to have to help me restore it, though. That's the condition I told her.
Okay.
And then my oldest, Brooklyn, she has a 67 SS306 Camaro.
Pitching, bro.
Yeah.
So they just drive these around right... Wait, no, they don't.
They're project cars.
Okay.
The Camaro currently is sitting on a pallet,
Okay.
but I have every part except for the engine for it, but I'm going to pull the engine out of my Chevelle and put in there. Yeah. So, it's going to be a project for her.
Yeah.
Of course, in 5 years she'll be 16, but I don't want her driving it to high school. So we'll eventually see how this goes, or it just might still end up mine.
Yeah.
You know, I don't.
Once
mind.
you're married, happy birthday. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Whatever.
exactly. So she's going to have to learn, just like I did with my own car. You know, you're going to learn the ins and outs of the car. You're going to know how to do your oil changes. You know, you're going to have to service your components on the car, brakes, flush your systems out, like brake fluids, do differential fluid changes. You know, nothing's made to last, but maintenance helps it last.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah.
So they're both going to learn, and they like helping. You know, they want to sit down and get dirty with Dad. So they're a bunch of both of them are tomboys. You know,
That's
they're
what's
brutes.
up. Yeah. Yep.
So.
Yep.
And they can be girly girls too.
Yeah.
You know, they like to go and get their nails done, and like to look pretty, get dressed up, and
Best of both worlds.
best of both worlds. It's awesome. You know, they're both very enthusiastic kids. One does volleyball. The other one, you know, she does choir and band. So the youngest is volleyball, oldest is choir and band, and yeah, they definitely have their little
Moments.
personalities to themselves for sure.
Yeah.
So they have their moments, of course.
So what was the first really staple car memory or moment that really impacted you? Like, I love this. Was there a moment? Was there a first?
I honestly would say it would be my dad and his 66 El Camino. And I was young. I was like 5, 6 years of age. And the sound of the car, I mean, the engine revving up, you know, feeling the, you know, rock of the engine in the seat. I mean, you know, back in the early 90s, you know, seatbelt laws were kind of a questionable situation. You know, you were jumping around the back seat without seatbelts on. And, you know, I was standing up in the front seat of this El Camino, and my dad pulls up to a red light one day, and we're heading northbound on 60th Street in Omaha. And a guy on a SS Monte Carlo pulls up, a mid-80s one, and he goes, "You want to race?" And Dad's like, "All right, put your seatbelt on." And here I am. I had to, you know, squat down, and we raced this car up a hill and just blew his doors off, you know. That was a thrill and excitement for me. And I was like, I'm hooked. and I loved cars ever since then. I was also, it's really weird, I was in also trains back in the day too. I used to do hobby HO scale train sets.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I used to build train tables when I was little too. And it was either be trains or cars. I had both worlds there.
Yeah.
And I got out of the trains. I kind of fell out of it after high school. So stayed with the cars. I've always loved them. And I would have to say that that's what triggered me, was that feel of the going up the hill, going super fast, the adrenaline rush with it.
Yeah.
And, the smells that come with it, the fuel, the smoke of the tires. So.
You painted the scene there, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, I would say that was my moment.
Wow.
That's when I got hooked on.
Do you know if your daughters had a moment or have had their moment yet?
I would assume they have. My wife was very pregnant with my oldest, and we were driving the Chevelle around, and the excitement in my wife's belly when the car would start, she would start moving more in my wife's belly. So who knows if it started in the womb or not.
Literally though.
Yeah. And but anytime, after she was born, she would hear the car, she would smile. We would strap her in the back seat and cruise down O Street and go downtown in the Haymarket area in Lincoln. And she would just never complain, no cry, no nothing.
No, she loved it. That was home. Yeah.
It was home. So she liked that sound. The car would shake and rumble, and if I loaded up on the carburetor, it burped and everything else off the tailpipe, she wouldn't flinch. She just liked it. So, and then she take her to the drag races on Friday nights at I-29. They enjoy it. We go down to where the Christmas tree is in the middle of the track, and they get to watch the cars go down both lanes, and they're just hooked. They just enjoy that sound, and I would assume the feeling of the engine shaking the ground, and that you could feel it. So, and they enjoy it.
Jeez, so this car scene is no accident for you.
No, it's no accident for me.
Because where are you at now? You just told us this backstory. So what are you doing now in your life? You're not in construction anymore. You're back in the automotive field.
Mm-hmm.
What have you kind of came to the conclusion of? What do you love in this field that you currently do?
The connectivity with other people. And also showing my work. The quality I like to put out there, and showing people what I can do with it, and then helping other people that need advice on it.
Yeah, that feels good.
Yeah, it does. It feels great. I have phone calls. I get Facebook Messenger all the time. I have random people call me. Hey, Spencer, I have this situation going. I see that you built one of these cars before. Have you ran into this? And I'll be like, yeah, I ran into this. This is what you need to do. It's kind of like, they got different brands of metal out there. Some are good, some are not so good. And you tell them this is what I would use versus this other quality of part. And that's my joy in the business world with this car area.
That seems to be kind of like your style. Mm-hmm. When we met, 4 days ago?
4 days
for about
ago.
5 minutes?
About 5 minutes, yeah.
I could just tell you had that passion, and you cared more about what I see as the important things of life, the relationships. It's not about the car. Mm-hmm. It's about sharing the passion for the industry with people that are like-minded. Community. It's not proximity. It's common unity. Unified by common goals, perspectives, passions.
Absolutely. Yep. And that's my passion. I definitely like helping people regardless. I don't expect anything from it. We can talk on the phone for a couple hours and I try helping someone get their project done.
Wow.
I'll get pictures sent to me through Messenger. Hey, does this look right? Now I'll tell them, that looks a little low in a certain area. Make sure that your bushings are in the right spot. If not, get the correct ones in those locations on the certain cars. A lot of people don't realize that, you know, your F and X bodies in the GM world, your F body Camaro, your 67 through 69s, and then you got your 68 through 72 Novas that are X bodies. Their bushings are the same on both cars, but your 68 to 72 Novas have a spacer underneath the firewall to frame. And people don't realize that when they get these project cars in, a lot of times those are just missing. And then they complain about fender alignments to the doors and stuff like that. So I've actually helped a lot of people realize, you know, yeah, the kits are available, but you also, those kits aren't supplying a certain part to help with their project. So I have to guide people to find those parts. And that's another joy of mine, is explaining, you know, this is what is going to help you with your finished project.
Yeah, because you've been in that spot. You know what it's like when you don't have the answer and you can't find it.
Yep.
And it is not it's kind of puts you down.
It does. Yep. It does put you down, because, you know, you ask the questions and you get berated with different answers all the time.
Literally, yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, starting out wise, I mean, I had questions. I always ask questions. I wasn't a know-it-all. I'm still not a know-it-all. But I know a lot. Why? Trial and error. I find out on myself sometimes, you know, or you ask the question and actually the guy with knowledge helps you out.
Yeah.
So, which is a great thing, because then you become friends, and you might become annoying to him for asking him too many questions, but then again, you're like, at the end of the day, he actually helped you out and you're grateful for it.
Yeah, and he probably feels how you feel, everything that you just talked about in a positive way. I love helping people. Now he gets that.
Absolutely.
So, what do you specialize in the automotive world? What do you do?
I specialize in metal replacement. I don't like doing patchwork. So if someone needs a quarter panel replaced, or an outer wheel well housing, or a whole new shell, I provide all that. I have jigs made up for X and F body cars. So your 67 to 69 Camaros and your 68 to 72 Novas, I have jigs made up. I can build everything from the floor up.
Okay, so you take flat sheet metal?
No, I don't take flat sheet metal. So when I say sheet metal, it's automotive parts that are available in the aftermarket world.
Okay.
So like through EMD or OER.
Yeah. LKQ.
LKQ, if they have the parts available, or I'm a dealer for Auto Metal Direct, so I get a lot of my body panels through them, like my floors, quarter panels, rough skins, trunk floors, frame rails. They supply a lot, which is amazing. I like their quality control. They've been really good about it. They take care of me if I do come up with an issue. Okay. I send them. The nice thing about me, if, for instance, I supply other shops with sheet metal,
right,
auto metal direct parts, and if they order through me, I inspect every part before I deliver it. So if there's any defects or dents or scratches or something missing, I
let them know. Yeah, you're like quality control.
I am that secondary quality control, because they have their own quality control before they ship it out. So they always have an inspection sticker on the thing saying, hey, we inspected this, you know, and it'll be on the body panel, not the box. So they, you know, really they opened that box up and they inspected the part. But no, they're really good about it. I have an account manager, his name's John. Very great guy to talk to. A lot of those guys, you know, if John's not there, I can talk to them too. They take care of me. It's great.
Interesting. Okay. So you are a supplier for a lot of the body panels for the automotive world.
Yep.
The F body and X body.
Nova and Camaros. Yeah.
Nova and Camaros. So what do you specialize in? Is it just the middleman having the network of people that you can... I think,
yeah, it would be the network of people.
Nice.
Because not only can I have access to quality body parts for classic cars, I mean, I can do Mopar, Ford trucks, Chevy trucks, your Chevy cars, your Camaros, Novas, Chevelles, some Pontiac, you know, your GTOs, Le Mans or Tempests. And then I'm trying to become a dealer to get Ford parts on like your Mustangs and Galaxy stuff. And
I know AMD work for that. Okay.
Yeah, I know AMD just launched your Galaxy stuff last year, and a couple other Ford components for large trucks. They're F-150s, F-250s. They're mid-70s trucks and stuff. So they also got a C10, C20 lineup in their GMC lines as well. So
Interesting.
it's nice that they're getting into it, because
Yeah.
then that helps me out and get a broader group of people to help.
Interesting.
So it is really nice, because, I mean, like I said, their quality control is nice. And, you know, if I come across something, I let them know so my client doesn't have to deal with it. And if my client does have something, an issue arise, like a fitment issue, I'm always like, provide me photos, take measurements, and if it's something that can be addressed, it's taken care of. So, which is great.
So you happen to have a lot of sheet metal, I assume,
Mhm.
like, you know, shaped and everything. Is that how you... It seems like you have almost two businesses.
Almost.
I do or build cars,
Mhm.
and I supply metal.
Yep.
Which one is your priority?
Well, when I build a car, I have the supply, which is nice. So
Ideal,
I don't have
yeah.
a really big, you know, I don't have a middleman myself. I am that person.
Lower costs. I mean,
Exactly.
it's
It's
a
lower
deal.
cost.
Yeah.
It's a win-win for me.
Yeah.
You know, I make a little bit on top of the sheet metal, but kind of like some of the body shops around here, I also supply components to.
I bet.
So it helps that place out as well. And I honor the body shop discount. So those shops also get a win-win situation, because then they get to charge their client a little
Happier,
bit
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the part of marketing I enjoy with my business as well. And yeah, it does pull me away from some projects. I mean, it takes time away from my day of building one. But I'm also a one-man show. I don't have a group of people working with me.
Dang.
So everything I juggle myself.
You got free time, huh?
I can make it myself, but
Yeah.
you know, doing this podcast also helps me. It gets my name out there.
Yeah, it does.
So
Yeah.
I enjoy that. Will enjoy that. So
So do you have like a 5-year goal, a 10-year goal? What's the ideal look like for you?
so I am in my 7th year.
What does that mean?
I'm in 7 years in my business.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So I finally got established in 2018, but prior to that I was also working, kind of doing a DBA, doing it business as
Okay, yep.
through myself.
Yep. And it just grew to the
and it-
point where you were like, I should probably make it a business.
I should probably make it a business, because
Okay.
then, you know, I did it during the winter months when I wasn't building decks. So
That's fun.
right.
Yeah.
So I had a nice heated shop, and I could do 3 to 4 cars in the winter months, and then
You'd finish them? 3 to 4 cars?
Yeah.
Nice.
yeah, just do the metal replacements on them. You know, quarters, in and out of wheel wells, trunk pans, floor pans, rockers,
Okay. And then you send that to a body shop?
and then I would send it to wherever the client wanted me to send it to.
Oh, so you do this for customers?
Oh yeah, I do it for
Okay.
customers. Yeah.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I have several repeat clients, so it's nice. I have a lot of new clients. I have a decent waiting list until 2026. So I am definitely busy, but I can definitely carve out some time for a podcast.
Right? I appreciate your time. I'm so thankful.
Yeah.
I was going to ask something about that. Time and all these customer things. Yeah, so you don't have time to build your own projects?
No, but I should carve out some time for that. I mean, there was a point in time where I'm actually going to start doing it again when, for instance, when my wife leaves town, I kind of have to stay home for the kids, and so it takes my weekends away. So I spend quality time with my kids instead of working.
Okay, nice.
So I put my family ahead of anything. So my kids are my number one, same with my wife. And my clients will always be second. And
It's important.
Yeah, it is very important. Yeah. And you know, the nice thing is about my clients, they're very understanding if something was to arise due to that. For instance, I just had issues with my truck not too long ago. Not, you know, it's my transportation. And I couldn't even get to the shop. Yeah, I couldn't even get to the shop. So I keep a project in my house so I can work out of my garage at the home.
Nice, smart.
Yeah. So I'll sit outside and start grinding on a subframe or something for a car, and my neighbors will come over and chit chat with me, ask me what I'm doing or working on.
Nice.
So yeah, but that's one thing to get to work in and kind of lose yourself in that position, because my mind gets free. I don't think of anything else besides that project.
Yeah.
So
yeah, to focus in, it feels good.
Yeah, exactly. And then working on the cars at my shop, I mean, if I can't get to them, it kind of sucks. That's money lost per se.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, especially, delays in parts also affect that. Because if I'm sitting there waiting for a part, I get a client saying, "How's my car coming?" I was like, "Well, we discussed this. You needed that part. Well, come to find out, it's on back order. Sometimes the part will stay in stock online, and it says, then you get this nice little notification that, hey, unfortunately, our warehouse has found out that this part is no longer in stock. Now we're on a waiting list to get it shipped." So, but that's also a nice thing about my vendor, Automotive Direct. They'll notify me if there's an ETA on a certain part.
Huh.
So
communication, your first lesson. Okay.
Communication is key. So especially notifying your clients, if any delays are arising at the time. I mean, for instance, I've had a car kind of like in body shop jail, for 3 years now. And it happens. It does. It happens in every shop. You can't tell me it doesn't.
It does. It happens. It does.
Yeah.
It does.
And, it's unfortunate, but when you order a part and it says there's a delay or, no ETA, how long is that ETA for?
Right.
So you're sitting there trying to fight the system, trying to figure out, well, who else makes this part? Or can you make the part yourself?
Yeah. It's almost easier, and this is like the extreme situations where it's really kind of rare, hard to find cars. It's like, do I wait for somebody eventually to post it online, or maybe this supplier to finally have it? Or do I just go fly to the car's location, cut it out of a junkyard, bring it back?
Yep.
It's almost easier to go down that route with some projects.
Exactly, and that's the great part of networking, especially with local junkyards. Oh. There's a couple of classic junkyards around the Midwest here, Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri. And, some of those guys are just happy and willing to cut something out for you and ship it to you.
No, really?
Yeah. I mean, for instance, there's a guy in Yankton, South Dakota. He nothing but mopars. And it's great because, the mopar community is small, but these guys are also wanting their cars done, and not all the parts are available for certain makes.
Yep.
So you're going to have to sacrifice a car.
Yeah,
these
literally.
Guys are willing to sacrifice those cars that are in the junkyard. So
Heartless.
Yeah, well, not really heartless.
Not heartless, but like thoughtful.
Thoughtful.
Willing to put down maybe their love for the cars for, hey, someone's going to take this car and what's left of it and turn it into something that's going to be back on the road.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's selfless. I think that's what it's
selfless. There you go. That's a lot better word. Heartless. I don't know about that. No, there's a reason why they didn't crush it yet.
Right. I was going to ask you, do you have any advice for younger you when you first started out? Maybe first starting the second beginning of the car industry where you're like, hey, business. Do you have any advice to your old self where it's like, you mentioned communicate, but I know there's so many more lessons that you've learned.
I would say the networking area in it. Get to know people a lot quicker. For instance, there are multiple shops around here in Lincoln. What is there, like 30 of them, I think?
Probably, yeah.
I mean, they're small shops. I mean, within this location here, there's 6 within less than a mile. And I would say, that's would have been key for me when I first started off, is getting to network with people, or maybe even start working with those people in their shop and get to know more of the ins and outs instead of trying to figure it out on my own.
Okay. So how do you start that? If you've never... I work at Muscle Car Concepts.
Mm-hmm.
I love the advice you just gave me. Do I just go knocking on doors? Hey, I just wanted to... How do I start?
How do you start? I mean, I think when I came here to start selling, my body panels, I was like, hey, I'm a Auto Metal Direct Dealer, is there any projects you need panels for? And if, for instance, like, you got to get to know the people first before you start asking the harder questions, I would say.
Yeah. You have to have a relationship.
Absolutely. Build that relationship. And if, some of the shop owners, if they're willing, they would like to teach you something. It shouldn't be a competitive world.
No, I get that. Yeah.
There are shops out there that will, discriminate against one another, which is not okay. I don't like that. I don't like degrading another shop because of their quality or, if they don't know what they're doing. I would definitely bring it to their attention because, it definitely...
we can improve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Improve what you do.
Yeah.
There's
that
always,
helps everyone.
Absolutely. There's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
So, for instance, like, just today I was like, I need to learn how to paint a car. I never really took classes to paint a car. I know, I can puff can something like an engine,
right?
But I definitely don't have a skill or technique for it. And I think that's why I like to send my work out for finish work.
Yeah.
I love welding. I like working with metal, and that's why I stick with what I do.
Yeah.
There's decent money in it.
I see what you mean.
The turnaround is a little better. I mean, usually a car takes 2 weeks to do, unless, like I said, there's delay in parts or another issue arises for some goofy reason. But it's life. Life happens.
2 weeks to do, what is that, like floor pan, trunk pan?
Well, it'd be like inner and outer wheel wells and quarter panels I can do in 3 days.
Okay,
so,
nice.
Yeah, and that would be like on a 72 Chevelle.
Okay.
There's shops out there that advertise quarter panels done in 3 days' time, which, once you get down pat to doing it, it happens that quickly.
Yeah. Yep.
Everything's about prep and readiness and knowing what to do.
Familiar,
and, get familiar with that body style. So, and those, that's all they do is metal replacement in these shops, and they do great work, and they're all over the place in this country, which is great. But as, I started posting on social media, I started getting vehicles from other states. I got cars from New York. I have a car from Florida. I have another one coming from Florida next month. I had that Chevelle from Illinois. I had a Camaro from Kansas. I got a couple cars from Iowa. I have a car coming from South Dakota. A car from Colorado. I mean, another one coming up from a small town in Guyman, Oklahoma.
Interesting. So these aren't local. These are
all over the country, and I provided a drop off and pickup service, or pickup and drop off service, vice versa. It does take time out of my weekends, of course.
Is that like a family road trip? We
make it a family road trip. I pack the kids in, the wife in. We grab a hotel on the way through.
Make it fun.
Yeah. Go see Niagara Falls since we went to Buffalo, New York. Niagara Falls is right around the corner.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And we ended up picking up a 69 Camaro from there and bringing it back.
Just trailered it back?
It's a full project car. It had a prior restoration done on it. 80s time period, I would say, on it, so it definitely shows its age of restoration, and it definitely needs its help. So I'll be doing a lot of work on that. I'll be posting progress photos on that in the next 2 months on that.
Nice.
Then it goes to my guy that does the finish work. Final body and paint on that.
And then what? After he paints it, comes back to you and you assemble?
After that, he does all the assembly for, we have a window guy come to his place and he does all the window installations. So it's a sealed car once the client gets it back. But this one will be a running driving car with no interior.
Okay. Interesting.
So all the interior work the client will do himself.
Okay. So the gas pedal, steering wheel will all be in there?
All of it will be in there. Yep. So... kind of like the car that I did in Oklahoma. I actually drove down to Guyman, Oklahoma, and installed mini tubs on this car at another guy's shop that allowed me to use some space.
Wow.
And became a great client. I built him a subframe probably 8 months prior to that, and became good clientele, friendship wise, and basically he would call me and ask me, what should I do with this part, or what parts would you recommend to build my car? So how I would build a car, I informed him what parts I would use. So he built a car to my specifications, because I know what works and I know what doesn't work.
Right.
So I was able to help guide him build and finish his car. Now the car's coming up for final wiring harness and interior and window install that I'm having another shop help me do, because that's part of my networking thing. I got another shop that does all the wiring and electrical stuff.
Smart.
Yeah.
So you really seem to find a niche that you enjoy.
Absolutely.
Not everything in restoration. I enjoy the metal, and I'm really good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything else is through you and your team, basically.
Absolutely, yep. My networking team.
Wow.
I got a performance guy out of Florida. His name's Joe. Very, very nice guy to meet. He sent me a project. It was Swiss cheese. I ended up building a whole car for him for that. Very nice guy. He is sending me another project that he had another shop had a bad experience with. He kind of got raked through the leaves with it. Got a lot of promise notes, saying that I'll have it done in a certain time period. And with me in my shop, I don't like to promise when it's going to be done, but I'll definitely try to get it done within a certain amount of time.
Right.
Let alone, of course, delays happen. But I was able to help him with that situation too. I'll actually be having that car delivered next month.
That's the one from Iowa?
From Florida.
Florida,
Yeah,
okay.
this will be number 2 from Florida. And then the other 2 cars from Iowa are already done. There were 2 Novas. And one of those Novas came from a shop in Colorado that just urethane glued all the components in. I was able to pull things out by hand. It was so bad. I felt bad for that guy. He spent really good money for the car, and it was a sight unseen purchase.
Yep.
So, and that's another thing in the automotive world I very much dislike. As you experienced here at this shop,
Yeah.
You get a lot of sight unseen purchases, and then you get them delivered here, and you guys end up calling me up and be like, we need some help. That's all right. I enjoy the help.
Oh my goodness, nice.
Yeah, and these guys spend good money on those cars, 80,000 plus,
Yeah.
and come to find out it's not a true super sport, or it's lipstick on
a pig.
on
Yeah.
a pig, and that's the sad thing about those other shops, and not to name any shops, it just happens. These shops want to paint, put a lipstick on a pig situation and make a bunch of money, but then again, they're also screwing over a client that has to put more money into the car to just get what they should have had out of it. So, which is very unfortunate, because it happens all over this country.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
That's why for us, I think probably for you too, our point of interest is we're going to show you how we do it.
Mhm.
So that you see the Jaguar. There was no opportunity where we came in and did it wrong.
Right.
You couldn't even claim that we did it. We have everything recorded.
Everything documented, yep. And that's the biggest pet peeve for me too. I document everything. And if I come across something cutting out of the car, for instance, just a 71 Chevelle over the last week, doing the trunk floor, I removed a certain part of it where it meets the rear seat floor,
Okay.
just before the divider tray of the trunk.
Yeah.
I was wire wheeling this area to get it all prepped and ready for weld-through primer. I went through the floor with a wire wheel, and I was like, oh man, now this is going to be a delay, because now I got to wait for the part to show up, because guess what? I got to replace the part. I can't just sit there and patch it over.
Yeah.
And you get these shops that like to fiberglass these
Issues
little
like that,
pinholes
yeah.
over, and they don't tell the client. Then they spray undercoating underneath it to cover it all up, and it's just, I don't do that. I don't.
Yeah.
I can't stand that.
You take, maybe pride isn't the right word, but it matters to you how the quality is.
Mm-hmm.
And
it does.
For me personally, I notice it's a lot of, I have this phrase I say, maybe I'm a dick for it, but I want to go to bed at night. So I want to do the best work that I can, and
Mhm.
it's not even for. I mean, I love doing it for other people, but if I don't, I will know about it, and I won't stop thinking about it.
Right.
I take passion in what I do.
Yep. It's kind of like when I have a client come and pick up his car. I look over the car pretty meticulously, making
Right.
sure I didn't miss anything. I lost sleep over it, thinking like, oh my gosh, is he going to be happy when he shows up? I mean, I'm happy with the car, of course, but that's always in the back of your mind. Is the client going to be happy with the product he receives?
Yeah.
And if he's not happy, he just wasted that whole trip to your shop because now you got to fix what he sees is wrong. But that's where I take my pride into my work.
Yeah.
I am quality control.
Do you notice when you feel that you can step away, that typically the customer is just happy?
He's just happy.
Yep.
Yeah, he is ecstatic. He's like, I appreciate you, what you pointed out to me. It's like the guy with the Nova that I did. They cut out certain parts of bracing in the car. That was, if he took it down the drag strip, the car would have blown apart. That's how bad it was. And I just was like, I started taking photos and I took videos of it. And I'm like, this is that bad. I was like, this needs to be fixed.
Wow.
I mean, you're not supposed to do that. At another shop, it's just that bad. And that's, like I said, that's where my pride is making it right before it even leaves my shop. So I know when it's on the road, they're safe. They're not going to have any issues. I don't do any mechanical work. I'll bolt in the subframe and everything, and in all my notes I give out to my clients, make sure you go get your car aligned at a professional alignment shop.
Right.
And make sure everything's torqued to specifications. I'll torque the subframes in and the rear ends in,
Right.
but everything else, like the alignment and stuff, I'll get it close so it doesn't really
flop or whatever.
Yeah, and those guys will do the finish work because I know how to do it, but I don't have the tools to do it as a professional shop to get your car aligned. So
In a reputable, consistent manner.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So because I don't want to be liable for, I'm going to be liable for their safety,
Literally. Yeah.
for welding their car together, but like their drivetrain and all their suspension work, that's on that other shop.
Interesting.
So that's a more viable area for safety.
Yeah.
That's what they do for specialties. So they're the ones that are going to be the safety
Yeah.
to make sure that that car's safe before it actually hits the road. And that's what I do. Again, I network with other shops for that specific reason. Why? I work out of a 60 by 40 building.
That's so
It's
cool.
not that big.
Yeah.
So I'm very limited on space. I mean, I have industrial shelving that hold all my parts. And then I have cars shoved underneath those shelvings for storage.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just gets to the point where, you look at all those projects and you're like, which one's next? Where do I have to put the safety points in? Get that project done for the client to where he's happy and back on the road. And there's all kinds of aspects on that. That's why you network.
Dude, you have a whole running shop, and like you said, it's a 40 by 60 building.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the power of networking. That's really... I'm going to have to reflect on that one.
Yeah.
Like, I love business, I love people, I love talking, I love media. And so to see the power in numbers is inspiring. Sometimes it's like, where do you start? How do I do this?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, you got this thing called social media.
Yep.
What's your goal with it?
My name's out there. Like I said, I got a couple of followers that tag me in almost every post that someone has a question about because of my experience.
Yeah,
with
you're
that
the guy.
Location, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not the expert, but I definitely know
One of them.
Yeah, I know a little bit about a lot.
Yeah.
So, it's nice to get that. I mean, there'll be times where I get tagged on a post and I don't see it for a day, and I'm like, oh man, I missed something, And I'm there, and I'm like, okay, I got photos of this, so I can help this person out with that. So, yeah.
What do you want from your social media? What's
What I
the
want?
goal?
My goal for the social media is just to show my quality, show my worth.
Ooh.
So, I mean, like I said about shops degrading other shops for other reasons, there's no reason for my name to be bad out there.
No.
I want to be that reputable shop.
Yep.
And, for instance, there shouldn't be any, like I said, quarrel between shops either.
No, look at what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
This is how it should be. This
Absolutely.
is beautiful. Like,
Yep.
I've learned so much. Hopefully, you know, you're friends with Todd, so you've probably been a part of this for a long time and
Yep.
have learned from Todd. And
Yeah, and you know, I grew up with a guy in Omaha that knew Todd's family, so it was kind of weird running into him, and I'm like, oh, I know your older brother. So
oh, was it Joe?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
yeah, it was interesting. So because his shop was right next door to my dad's friend from high school, so it was very interesting to come across that.
I've definitely realized in the automotive world, as you climb that specialty sort of niche, you just know everyone.
Yeah,
Like, you probably know a lot of the suppliers, the other people in your industry that do the same kind of work you do.
I
Like,
do. Yeah, and we network with each other.
That's good.
You know, if they have a part that's available, I'll try to buy it from them. You know, for instance, there's a shop in Illinois, and they do phenomenal work. There's a shop in Texas that does phenomenal work too, and I'll call those guys for information. If I get stumped on something, I'm like, hey, you know, have you ran across this before? Or do you have this available for me? And what would you charge me? You know, kind of scenario.
Yeah.
So that's, like I said, networking is key in this market.
Where do you think most of your customers come from? Is it networking? Is it in networking word of mouth? Is it social media?
It's all social media. It's
Really?
all been on Facebook. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Like I said, I get tagged in numerous posts. I mean, it happens almost on a daily. I get tagged on it. And I'll tag other people if I come across a post asking about certain performance parts. I got a buddy that deals in performances, you know, in performance suspension, performance engines, custom wheels. So, I mean, that's what he does. So I'll tag him in those posts, and you know, he'll give me a thumbs up and a big thank you underneath as a comment, and you know, that's what I enjoy too. For instance, you know, I've referred other cars I can't get to other shops. So,
Wow.
you know, being booked out as far as I am, I don't have that kind of time to, you know, I'm not going to be that guy that keeps scheduling the cars. I get a cutoff point.
You have to. Yeah.
I'd like to get the cars that I have in my shop out so I can clean my shop. So, you know, for
what
instance,
a concept, literally.
Oh yeah. I mean, you have to literally get the cars out to, you know, you want a clean work environment. But I got to the point where I was so busy I couldn't clean anything. I just, you know, I'd start throwing tools and stuff underneath my little stool I scoot around on when I'm welding with it. You know, keep all the clamps and everything in an area. But I mean, grinding and you know, some of your welds down and stuff, it just gets dusty, and you're like, man, this is getting disgusting.
Yeah. Yep.
You go home super dirty, you turn your shower black. So, but no, I mean, this business is a big joy for me. I enjoy it a lot. I definitely want to meet some of the bigger names out there.
Yeah, that's what we want.
So, the opportunity's there.
Yep.
Is the time.
Ooh.
Might have to just carve it out.
Ooh.
You know,
Wow.
just, you know, when you're busy, you got to stay busy. You know, you got to keep that payroll coming in.
Who do you want to meet? What's the ideal? Put it out there. Let them know.
Who do I want to meet? I wouldn't mind meeting Chip Foose.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be one of the big names out there.
Jay Leno?
I've met Jay Leno.
How was that?
That was very interesting. My uncle used to work for, I believe, Warner Brothers.
Okay.
Or 20th Century Fox, one of the two.
Okay.
He was close with a lot of those people out there. He got us on the Jay Leno show, so I was able to attend that. It was pretty cool. We had an invite, but we ended up doing something else that night. But I was able to shake Jay Leno's hand, which is pretty neat. But I would definitely love the tour of the garage. Definitely meet Jay Leno in person and tour his huge collection of cars that he has and his passion, and get to know him for who he is.
Yeah, talk about cars.
Yeah, because he doesn't have his show anymore, which is kind of sad, but he does have a channel, YouTube. So
yeah, he posts all the time.
Yeah.
Like really nice high-end cars, really rare cars. People let him drive them around.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool. He just seems kind of like you, like a really authentic. I don't care if the cameras are here or not. I love cars.
And
this is my life.
Yeah, right now he's trying to fight for the emissions control on classic cars in California.
Really?
Yeah, I mean they're trying to crack down on the collector's car world, you know, because I don't know what it is with that state, but man, they despise everyone that has some kind of
classic car, anything. Yeah.
Yeah, even
modern cars are all getting emissioned out.
Yeah, they are. They getting choked. So
Literally.
It's very unfair to the rest of the 49 other states. So even though there's 48 here, and I don't know what it is with those guys. I mean, of course, Colorado has emissions control compliance, but they're pretty lenient on classic cars, which is nice too, but that state's kind of getting questionable.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. But definitely, I definitely want to meet those two guys. I think those are on my high bucket list. So
I'd say for us too, Richard Rawling would be pretty cool.
Richard Rawling would be very cool.
He's just a character. He's just a I call that a high impact player.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to talk about cars, but it'd just be cool to see him come into the shop, sit down, be electric, be loud.
Absolutely.
Just be kind of that rowdy muscle car guy. I think that's what people really enjoy.
Absolutely. Yeah. That'd be awesome.
So where can people find you?
Where can people find me?
Yeah.
They can find me on Facebook.
Okay.
So Hillside Muscle Cars LLC on my Facebook page. And I just started the YouTube channel, Hillside Muscle Cars 18.
Got it.
On YouTube. So that's all I have.
Okay.
I think I have a TikTok out there, but that's Ferris Bueller out there. So
got it.
Yeah.
I'll be on the lookout for that. What if a customer wants to call? Hey, I want to get my car in. What is the route?
The route. I mean, they can call me 402-216-1439. The thing is, I like to come and inspect the car. Pictures kind of don't do it justice. Pictures hide a lot. I mean, of course, the thing is hands-on, because the client's going to say it only needs quarters. Then you're going to come to find out it's really peeling the peel off an orange, and then more stuff falls out. So,
yep.
I like to get my hands on it, and I'll travel. I'll charge an inspection fee, $850, and then whatever housing or is going to cost and fuel.
That's not bad. That's fair.
I think it's fair.
Yeah, that's very fair.
It's only going to take 2 hours out of my day to come across and look at your car, but the distance, I'm not going to fly anywhere. I'll drive.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Florida, you drive to Florida?
I can drive to Florida. Yeah. I drove to New York. I did it in one day. So.
Not there and back, just to Florida?
No, just
to New York.
Just to New York, and then, yeah.
Wow.
Stayed in a hotel and woke up the next day. Here I am.
So for your YouTube, what I'm getting at is, you got a network of people, and you want to meet more people.
Absolutely.
You travel around, and you're an expert at the specific things that you do in this industry. Capture it. Record it. I want to hear it. I want to see. I did New York in a day.
Yeah.
There's a video. We're not even doing the car stuff yet. There's a full video.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
A video of you picking up the car. Like your story, your context is so interesting because you're so good at what you do that my thing in Muscle Car Concepts is how do I make really viral content around something that not everyone wants to see. So I want the kids, I want grandma to be like, Muscle Car Concepts posted, never cared about cars in my life. I have to watch.
Right.
And that's where you get more into the story, the backstory, who you are, what matters to you. So why I wanted to find out, more of your childhood, what you came from, is because that builds context into who you are now. And it's like your childhood, no wonder it is you are the person you are today. The first thing you did on your car, let's take off the quarter panels, let's cut them out, let's try to pat. Like, who does that?
Yeah, who does that?
But only the guy who's gonna grow up to be the best at it.
Yeah.
One
of the best.
One of the best.
One of the best.
But that story is like, I got chills down my body when I say that. Like, that's what people want. And then the car enthusiasts will love you just doing what you're doing, explaining it, time lapses. I think you have the formula. I think you have the product to go viral, to do super well. That's why one of the first questions I asked you, without knowing that you did YouTube, I just had a feeling was, how do I do better?
How do you do better?
And you said slow down, which I'm working on.
We're in a fast world, man. Things go by so quickly. Sometimes you just gotta slow down. You got your own brakes.
I'm going to end it with this. Any advice on slowing down? You got a family, you got a business.
Got a family, got a business. Sometimes you just gotta take that time with your family and enjoy it. Life's too short.
The important message is the people.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Enjoy those who are around. And cherish those who are gone.
The floor is yours. This is your moment to leave one last message with the people. Is there anything else you want to say?
I don't know. Life is ahead. Look to the future. But enjoy this moment.
Ooh. Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Pleasure.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Woo! How was that?
That's good. I liked it.